Welcome to One Girl in All the World, a Buffy the Vampire Slayer rewatch podcast where we recap each episode in order and discuss. I'm Ashley, Buffy superfan.
I'm Kimmy, Buffy newbie.
You can find us on all major podcast apps, YouTube, and Instagram with new episodes on Tuesdays. So hello, little lady.
Oh my god, that really enraged me every
Little
time
lady.
I heard that.
Little
Yes.
lady.
I hate that shit.
Drink every time, your drink of choice every time Ted says little lady.
That would actually be a good episode to do that too. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Get so drunk.
Okay, so I'm wearing a Buffy shirt today because...
Yeah, I really like it. It's super cute. You look really cute today.
Thank
I mean,
you.
you look cute every day, but you look like extra cute today.
Showered. I have makeup on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am really going for it today.
You're working it. I like it.
Yeah. So we do record these episodes a few weeks in advance just for like life, just to get things edited in case there's something comes up, whatever. We're on like...
Boy, do things come up.
Yeah, like that's why we do this. So this will seem like old news when this podcast comes out, but there's been a lot of Buffy news. So I felt like I had to wear my Buffy shirt. So the first thing is Allison Hannigan is going to be on Dancing with the Stars.
Woohoo!
I think all this stuff was like announced on the same day. It was like
Okay, that's cute. I like her.
the Buffy forces were
Conspiring.
kind to us Buffy fans like last week. And then the big news was that there's going to be a Audible Buffy story. It's called Slayers, a Buffyverse story, and it's bringing back like 9 original cast members.
Okay, I think I saw you share that on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's on Audible. I already pre-ordered it, so I'm ready. October 12th, this first episode is going to come up.
Countdown starts.
Yes. And it's supposed to be like an alternative universe, so I feel like I can say who's in it because it doesn't matter if they lived or died in the show. Like it's a different universe apparently than the regular one that we know from the show. Kind of.
No spoiler alerts.
Yeah, I don't think there's any spoilers because, well, yeah. So Cordelia's in it, and this is all voiced by the actual actors. So they got all these people. They got Charisma Carpenter. They got Spike, Jace Marshall, who's the main person. So obviously, I would automatically sign up for that, no matter what he's doing. Mm-hmm. And Anya, which you don't know that character yet. Emma Caulfield is back. Tara, Amber Benson is back. You don't know that character yet. Clem. Love Clem. Clem's not... You don't know who Clem is yet, but
these people.
Clem is back in this... Who else? Oh, Anthony Stewart Head Giles.
Oh, okay, cool.
Amazing. Great. So he's back. Who else is there? I think I have it up here. Let's see.
So, like, no Xander, no Buffy.
No. Oh, Juliet Landau. Drusilla.
Oh, okay.
Forgot about her. And Danny Strong, Jonathan. Who we've only seen a little bit of Jonathan.
Okay.
Yeah, he was the one in our last episode that the Patrice, the cop, had him by the neck with the knife.
Ah, yes. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, he just kind of popped up a few times. He does
seen him a few times. Yeah.
become more of a thing on the show later.
Okay.
But yeah, for right now, that you only know him from like 3 appearances where he's just like popped in and been like, and then
I think he was like in the Magician Show, maybe.
He was in Inca Mummy Girl. He was trying to like...
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right. She tried to kiss him.
Impado was trying to like make out with him. And then he was, I think in the end of was it Reptile Boy? That Cordelia like had him fetching her coffee and everything at the Bronze.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've just seen him a few times, but he's actually, his career has taken after Buffy. Like he's like a really good writer. Like he's like, that's where his career has taken him.
Cool.
So, yeah, so he's going to be back as Jonathan. So this is so exciting. It's going to be 10 years after the events of the final episode of Buffy. But there is some confusion about what universe it is. Is it canon or not? Like, there's a lot of confusion about what's going on with it.
Year did Buffy end?
2003.
So this is supposed to take place in 2013?
I guess so, yeah.
So, like, 10 years ago. Okay, interesting. All right.
But there's, like... I think it might be like the Buffyverse we know, and then there's like an alternate universe.
Okay.
So I don't know. Well, we will listen and find out. There's a lot of confusion. There's been a lot of people are asking the writers and the creators questions on Twitter, and they're reposting them and stuff. So there's some confusion about it. So, but it's very exciting. So a lot of Buffy news that came out, and again, when you hear this, it'll be very old news. So, but yeah, the Buffy Graham has been blown up. Has been blown up with this news. So yes, it was a full Buffy week, like in the mainstream. So that was fun. Yes, maybe I will like give my opinions on it without trying to spoil anything. So if anybody listens to Slayers on Audible when it comes out, I will be listening for sure. So maybe I'll share my thoughts if people are interested in that when we start listening to it. Because I don't ever get new Buffy, stuff, really, often, right? So this is like a new Buffy thing that I haven't, it's new to me. So I'll be excited to see what everybody thinks. So, okay, but we were talking about Ted, season 2, episode 11.
Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong, but did you say last recording that the next 2 episodes were going to be palate cleansers?
Yeah.
Okay, I actually liked this episode. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was darker than I remember.
It was so dark.
Because it has been a while. Yes, I would say that I would still kind of
touched on some abuse things that I was not expecting.
Yeah, it is dark.
Yeah.
So Ted, the air date was originally December 8th, 1997, written by David Greenwald and Joss Whedon, directed by Bruce Seth Green. And the synopsis is John Ritter guest stars. The whole gang falls for Buffy's mom's new boyfriend, Ted. Everyone that is except for Buffy, who suspects there may be more to him than meets the eye. Meanwhile, Giles tries to repair his relationship with the calendar after her near-death experience with a demon. Still reluctant to let anyone know about their romantic involvement, Xander and Cordelia continue to hide their rendezvous from their friends.
So, can I just say that I used to love John Ritter. I loved Three's Company, so this was great for me.
Yeah, like you think we've been friends for like a decade.
Yeah, actually, it has been a decade. Yeah, oh my gosh, that's crazy.
And I never knew you like were into Three's Company. You didn't know I was so into like figure skating. Like, so we were like learning things about each other. I didn't know you were a Three Companies fan.
I love.
Like I've seen it, but
I used to watch it religiously.
Okay, yeah. So this is a good one for John Ritter for sure. Yeah. So he's probably at the time he probably would have been like
a really good guest star,
a big guest star. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Like now, like Pedro Pascal would probably be the biggest guest star, but he wasn't then. He was like nobody then. John Ritter was already somebody when he gets.
He would have been pretty huge by this point.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. So way darker than I remember, and it was like triggering. Honestly, like there's
it was hard to watch actually. Some parts.
Yeah, like I never had Buffy's experience, but like being a child of divorced parents who dated and remarried and everything, I was like,
Yeah, it was just not a...
It's so hard, even when that person isn't a robot that tries to kill you, a killer robot. I hope you guys have all watched the episode already, because I just gave it away.
Too late now. I mean, if they're listening to the episode, then we're spoiling it anyways. So.
Yeah. Okay, so we get a Slayer opening.
Yeah.
Anyway. Why? I don't know.
It's okay.
Still, we are this episode marks halfway through the season. So we are halfway done with season 2.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
So I don't know why we still need this, but anyway. It opens up on the sidewalk, and Willow, Buffy, and Xander are walking, I don't know, home to Buffy's house. They're coming over.
Buffy's happy. Things have been quiet. It's great.
This is the happiest we ever see Buffy, is when she's like, nothing's happening.
Yeah, whenever it's quiet time, she's like, this is great. I get to live a normal life for right now.
Yeah, she's happy. And they're arguing about Captain and Tennille, who is like a married pop duo, and they were arguing about like who is the real star.
And Buffy didn't know who they were.
Hilarious.
I was like, really?
See, I've heard it. Like I heard the name, but I couldn't like tell you anything. I wouldn't. Maybe I've heard it, but I heard.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Like I didn't know they were married. I had to look this up.
Okay.
So Buffy's in good company, I guess.
You're with Buffy. I'm with Willow and Xander.
Yeah, and Xander says, "Were you like raised in a cultureless house?"
Yeah, that's
I guess I was as well. So I don't know. I'd heard of them, but I don't know anything else really about them. So they're having a spirited debate about Captain and Tennille. And yeah, as you said, Buffy's enjoying the quiet, and Willow confirms, she's like, so we're not going to get any more assassins, right?
Yeah.
And
like
Buffy says,
and Drusilla gone.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And Angel said that the contract was called off for the assassins, probably because Spike's in no condition to pay the bounty. Yep. Xander asks how Angel's doing. He's like, pretend I care. And Buffy said he's getting better, and she's enjoying like nursing him back to health. Mm-hmm. And so they go up to Buffy's front door, and Buffy goes to, like, use her key, and the door kind of opens, like, without... It's already been opened. So she goes to put
like
the key
jar,
in.
basically.
Yeah, it's a jar, yes. She goes to put the key in, and it just kind of opens. So she's immediately suspicious. This is Sunnydale, after all. You'd be... Anyway.
What's going on?
Yeah. So she tells Xander and Willow to stay outside. She comes in. She hears her something breaking, glass shattering, and her mom like, no! And so she takes out her steak, barrels into the kitchen, and sees her mom making out with a guy. And quickly hides her steak, of course, when she realizes her mom's not in danger.
And, like, how awkward would this be as a teenager to walk in on your parent kissing somebody? Especially, like, someone that your
a stranger
talked to you about yet.
Yeah, a complete stranger to you.
Yeah, like, way to introduce your new boyfriend.
Yeah, so Buffy's...
Joyce.
Yeah. Oh, we'll get into Joyce in this episode.
I really... Okay. Yep.
Not good.
Okay.
Yep. Even the excuses I think they tried to build into the episode don't fly for me. Yeah. Okay. Joyce, you got to come in. You just wait. So then we go to the credits, and we come back, and Joyce introduces Ted, a guy she's been dating to Buffy.
So he's, okay. My question for last week, I was wrong.
Yeah, it's Joyce's new boyfriend. And obviously we mentioned it, but it's John Ritter from Three's Company fame. And it's very embarrassing. And Willow and Xander come in, and so obviously there's
Buffy's like, oh, so all those late nights at the gallery, this is what you were doing.
Mm-hmm. So basically,
Mom's been lying.
Yeah, or omitting the truth.
Yeah,
right? A lie of omission.
Yeah.
And she said that the gallery hired Ted to come in and do something with their computer system because he works with computer software, and that's how they met. And Buffy's not happy about it. And we learned right away that Ted is a great cook. He's making mini pizzas, and he's really connecting with Willow and Xander. Yeah,
like nerding out with Willow over computer stuff, and Xander really likes his cooking, and
he's making friends with
Buffy's just like super standoffish and like who is this person? How is he inserting himself into my life? And like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, he tries to like give her some food that he made. She's not interested, and he apologizes for how they met, and says that he cares about her because obviously she's so important to her mom, and that he wants them to be cool with. Wants them to be cool with it.
Well, so, like he's like he's already like and I'm like, that seems so like I don't know how long they've been dating at this point.
Inserts himself
exactly
very
quickly. He's just already like, this is we want you to be okay with this, and Buffy's just like, I'm okay.
Yeah, because Buffy's mom's trying to just like say, we want you to be okay with it, and he does. Yeah, he inserts himself right away.
Yeah. I'm already like on edge about this guy. I'm with Buffy.
Yeah.
He seems weird.
So we're in the graveyard, and Buffy is wailing on a vampire while
pummeling him.
Giles sits on a bench holding like the stuff, holding her purse, her Slayer purse, like any good
and he's
watch
like,
your daddy.
It's staking time, don't you think?
Staking time. Yeah, she's having multiple opportunities where she can stake this vampire and like move on.
Oh my gosh.
Quoting Giles from another episode, it should be plunge and move on, plunge and move on. That he says in a different episode. So, she's enjoying the fight, the outlet for all of her frustration and anger.
That's the word I was looking for, outlet.
So she's not looking to kill him. She's looking to wail on him and like feel good about beating the crap out of him.
Yeah, it's her stress release.
Yes, she's relieving some stress. And eventually she does stake him, and Giles is like, you okay? You right? Got anything you need to tell me?
You don't usually beat them into such a bloody pummel.
Yeah. She's like, are there any more? Is there going to be any more? He's like, I hope for their sake, I hope there aren't. Like, he actually feels sorry for them.
He's feeling sorry for the vampire.
Yeah, so that's pretty intense that Giles is saying that. We quickly come to, she's like, no, everything's fine. I like vampires, they do this, they do that. They come into your house, they make mini pizzas. And he's like, okay, this isn't about vampires.
Yeah.
And she does bring up, though, that this is the second time this week that she had killed actually, they're not in the graveyard, they're in the park. I misspoke. That this is the second time in a week that she's killed a vampire in the park. And she's like, why are they here?
Yeah, that's weird that they come back to the same spot.
Yeah, Giles says that because they have no clear leader, they're like scattered. So they're just kind of there's no coherence with the vampires in Sunnydale right now. They're just all kind of, they're not a pack at the moment. They're just kind of just all over the place.
Okay.
in the hallway, Xander and Willow are talking about how much they love Ted.
Ted's so great. His mini
Yeah.
pizzas are the bomb.
I could do with a mini pizza right now. Not one of
I
Ted's.
could too, actually.
Well, maybe.
No,
maybe.
not one of Ted's.
Hey, without Ted there, like if you could have one of his pizzas, everybody was happy. As long as you don't have a crazy person around you. Take one of Ted's mini pizzas with someone you trust. That's all I'm gonna say.
No judgment.
Yeah. Yeah, so Buffy is definitely skeptical of him, and they are just, Willow and Xander all about him.
They're Team Ted.
Yeah, they are Team Ted, yes. And Buffy thinks something is off with him.
Yeah.
They think it's just she's having some daddy issues.
Yeah, I mean,
like mommy issues.
I get it, because like your mom's single and it's kind of like you and your mom and you guys live together, and like they don't really have like a Gilmore Girls type of relationship, but they, you know, they're close-ish.
I think it's very typical.
So yeah,
that when your divorced parent is seeing someone, you're not going to like them.
No.
You're not going to like them. It doesn't have to be rational.
Yeah.
You just don't, because that's the way it usually works. When your parent...
She says, this line is really funny. Seeing my mom French a guy is definitely a ticket to therapy land.
Yeah.
Accurate, yes.
Yes, absolutely accurate. Nobody needs that. And they say that, you know, this is probably some Freudian issues that she's having.
Xander's talking about Freud.
Yeah. Wow, what? What world are we living in?
I'll admit, Xander's starting to grow on me ever so slightly. Yeah,
good.
A little bit.
Good. Yeah, he needed some time to grow up, I guess. Yeah, he's talking about Freud, and Willow's agreeing with him. She's like, you know what? You're just maybe having some family issues, like, because you're seeing things that, you know, you might think are there with Ted, but really you're just, you know, upset that your mom is moving on and dating someone.
Yep.
And guess what? Ted shows up right behind her at the school.
Not creepy at all.
And she's like, what are you doing here? And he says he had a job. He's working on the computer system in the guidance office, so that's legit. He's there on a job. And he gives Willow some free, really valuable computer upgrades. Yeah, computer software upgrades that she's like very excited about.
Of course she is.
And he asks all of them if they want to go mini golfing that weekend.
And Xander's like, yes.
Yes. Who doesn't love mini golf? And he said he's going to like make a picnic. And Buffy tries to get out of it. Says we have that thing we have to do. And Willow's like, oh, okay, right. I see what you're doing. And I think Xander does too, but he doesn't care.
No, he doesn't. He's like, we can do that thing anytime.
He blows it for them.
I want more mini pizzas, man.
And I want mini golf. So thanks to Xander, they are roped into all going to mini golf together.
Yeah.
In the computer classroom, Giles, we finally see his calendar again.
Yeah.
It's been too long.
This scene was hard.
Yeah, it was sad. Giles comes in to tell Jenny that her textbooks got delivered to the library.
Such a flimsy excuse.
And what she says when she says, okay, thanks, I'll have one of the students pick them up. And he's like, okay. And he turns to go.
And he looks like a puppy.
And she says, that was a flimsy excuse for coming to see me. He's like, well, you should have seen the ones I threw. You should have heard the ones I threw out. That was like a good one. That was like a plausible one. So, he just says, she says, I know you're worried about me. I'm doing a little better. I'm still having some problems because, like rewind that if we remember in the Dark Age, Jenny was possessed by a demon.
Yeah, she could have died.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, so she's still reeling from that, and because Giles was responsible for that, she's having a hard time being around him.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it makes total sense. She does he needs to give her more time. And she even says that. She's like, you're not giving me enough time. Like, you're not giving me enough the space that I need to get time to heal from that. Yeah.
And at the same time, she is, like, pretty brutal to him.
Yeah. I mean, she just does seem like that. Yeah. She's very no-nonsense, isn't she? Yeah.
But she says, you can't come in here making puppy dog eyes at me. It makes me feel like I feel bad because I'm not better.
She needs more space.
He's hurt by what she says about the puppy eyes, and he's like, "Oh, I didn't mean to make dog eyes at you. I'll leave." Yeah. And they both are like, it doesn't end well for either of them. She's like, oh, I was too harsh on him, and he's like, well, she hates me.
Yeah, exactly.
So
he's
nobody's
like,
happy.
Go visit her. Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's happy at the end of that conversation.
Yeah.
And Angel's apart.
I feel like she has a point though. She just needs more space.
Yeah. He's a lot of guilt. He's coming from a place of guilt, which. Yeah. That doesn't always make you see straight, like, clearly what the other person actually needs.
Yeah.
In Angel's apartment, Buffy is wrapping his hand because if we remember last episode, there was a knife driven through it by Spike for the ritual. So she's wrapping his hand. Obviously, it's still healing. And she's complaining endlessly about Ted. And how hard is your mom ever going to talk about anything but Ted? And Angel's like, are we going to talk about anything other than Ted? Because I'd like to. And Buffy's like, oh, you're right. Like, I just, I don't like him. And he's trying to, like, say, maybe your mother needs somebody. I know you don't need another dude in your life, but...
And he kind of basically says, like, no one's ever going to be good enough for her in your eyes. And she's like, except my dad, but that's obviously not going to work, so... Yeah.
Right, and that's what it's about. It's like a whole divorced child thing, which she knows isn't rational, but, that's how it is usually.
You feel how you feel.
Children out of divorce have a hard time with their parents, like, dating and remarrying and stuff. So he kind of talks her into, like, just giving him a chance. Angel knows nothing about him other than her rantings, Buffy's rantings. So she's going to give him a chance. Yeah. So we're at mini golf. They're talking about how great Ted's picnic was. And Ted asks Buffy, like, oh, you must have, like, a lot of boys lining up for you. And Willow says, oh, no, she's book cracker Buffy. All she cares about is her grades. That's what we call her. And he says, oh, good. That means your grades should be picking up then.
And that was, like, that was my first thing where I was like, what the WTF question mark?
Yes. So
that was
inappropriate.
Dig. Yep.
And, of course, Buffy goes over to her mom. He's like, how does he know about my grades? Like, this is not something he should know about.
And she's like, oh, I told him. That's really weird.
Yeah, he cares about you. It's like, okay, I don't even know this guy. Like, you shouldn't be telling him everything about me. Yeah. So Buffy's not happy about that. And Joyce is like, what? Like, it's no big deal. Like, it's fine. He cares. So it's Buffy's turn. And using that Slayer strength, and she's probably frustrated as well. She hits the ball, like, way, not even in the area.
And here's, like, where I get enraged. Bad luck, little lady.
Bad luck, little lady.
Okay, for any of our listeners out there, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. Don't ever say little lady to a woman because it is, or well, to anybody. It's enraging. It is enraging. It's not okay.
You will get a little putter to the head if you do that.
It might sound cute, but it's not.
Yeah, and he says it the whole episode.
And then Buffy's mom was like, oh, like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, we don't really have to count it, which I felt like was a normal reaction. Like, if you and I were playing mini golf, I would have said the same thing. It's like, don't worry about it. Like, whatever.
It's just
And he's like, rules are rules. And then Joyce is like, oh, yeah, I guess.
He talks her into, like, whatever. And he's like, oh, what we teach her, she takes out into the world. Like, we? Again?
Yes, exactly.
Okay,
he's inserting himself into the family. Yeah, he's like, I'm Father Ted now. And
he's like almost like disciplining her. Like,
he's all like, oh, he has a point. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Yeah, Joyce is just so, like,
ugh. Anyway.
Yep. Like, she's already got, like, 15 strikes in this episode, and we're not even to the worst parts of it yet. Yeah. So Buffy says, no, it's fine. I'll just go hit it. And she goes over there, and she's because she's far away, because her ball is, like, everyone on the other side of the
nobody's
hole.
Around her.
And she just picks it up and puts it in the hole and says, oh, look, I got a hole in two. And Ted catches her cheating.
Right.
Yeah, and he's not happy.
And this is where things go south.
This is, like, really bad. So...
she's like, it's just a game.
Mm-hmm. And he's upset. He's, like, hitting his leg really hard with the putter.
That was really weird, too. Like,
like, aggressively hitting his leg with the putter. He says, I don't put up with that kind of malarkey in my house, which is an odd phrase to use.
Exactly. Malarkey is something that was said in the 50s.
And he also said, I'm not wired that way.
Yeah.
Which is also a
little lady, too. It's just like, it's making him... Yeah.
Yeah. And Buffy says, well, it's a good thing we're not in your house then.
Yeah.
And he says, I'm going to, like, smack your smart-ass mouth, or whatever he says.
I'm gonna slap that smart-ass mouth of yours. And I was like, what the fuck?
And Buffy is shocked.
So mad. Yeah.
Buffy is shocked.
Well, because he seems...
annoying, but that, like, I mean, this is the second time she ever met him, and he's threatening to hit her. I mean, like...
That's...
wow.
Like,
that's
a whole
scary.
new level of abuse.
Yeah, that's scary. The rest of the group come over, and he just, like, snaps back into being, like, nice and gives them all cookies, like, for dessert. And Buffy's just, like, stunned. Yep. She's standing there stunned.
So weird.
In Buffy's kitchen, I think it's the next morning, maybe, Buffy won't eat Ted's food. Like, he left some, like, sticky buns or cinnamon buns there, and Joyce is like, oh, this is what's for breakfast, and she doesn't want to eat it because, ugh, Ted, Gross.
Yeah, he sucks. We don't like him.
And Joyce accidentally says that she loves Ted.
Yeah, which again, like we don't know when they started dating, but I'm just like,
true.
what? Like I feel like they haven't been dating that long.
Yeah, and like Joyce is kind of surprised that she said it.
Yes.
So I think she's like, oh, I don't know. Maybe I guess I do. Like she was surprised herself. So it's not like they don't think they've said it to each other. Yeah. But Buffy's like, oh God, you just said you love him. This is bad. And Joyce is saying, you know, you never gave him a chance. You didn't barely talk to him on Saturday. You didn't really give him a chance. And Buffy tells her that he threatened her.
And she doesn't believe her.
Joyce doesn't believe her. Buffy says like he said he would smack me. Yeah. And Joyce says he didn't say that. Like, oh my God.
So shitty. Like, what kind of parent is this?
Unbelievable. Yeah. It's unbelievable. And she's like, oh, he told me what happened, that you were caught cheating. And it was good of him not to tell the others that you cheated.
Yeah. So she's making him a martyr, basically.
Like, oh, he's a good guy. Like, I just told you he said he was going to hit me in the face.
Yeah.
And you're just saying I'm lying. So Buffy is just, yeah.
Buffy's at a loss.
Buffy's like shocked. And Joyce is just like, oh, more sticky buns. That was pretty bad. In the quad, Buffy tells Willow that she wants her to look into Ted. And even though Willow likes Ted, she's like, yeah, of course. Like,
of course she will. Willow is Team Buffy all the way. She's hesitant. She thinks Buffy's overreacting, but you know, she's on board.
They just don't get it. And they're eating more of Ted's cookies, Willow and Xander, while they're walking.
Of course they are. Yeah.
Because Ted did say, oh, I made too many of these. You guys are going to have to take them home. So they took him to school and they're chomping on him. Cordelia walks by and Xander compliments her outfit. And
this really confuses Cordelia.
Yeah, she's like, what is that supposed to mean? What does that mean? And he's like, just being nice. And she's like, shut up. Like, just walks off, like, very odd.
So he follows her.
Yeah. Xander follows her. And she's like, stop saying, like, nice things. Like, they're going to know that we've been kissing.
Yeah.
And Xander says,
he's like, I'm not. And this is where I like Xander, because he's like, I'm not telling people. Like, he's not kissing and telling.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate
I don't want your friends to know. I don't want my friends to know. And then he's like, hey, you want to go to the broom closet and make out? And she's like,
is that all you think about? Or God, is that ever? Yeah, is that ever you think about? Yeah. Okay.
Is that all you think about? Okay. So they go off. So those two are still doing whatever it is that they're doing, whatever you want to call it. They don't want to put a label on it. Nope. So Buffy again tells Willow of her concerns, and Buffy asks Willow to find out where he works. Yep. We're at Ted's work. I can't ever really see the name clearly. It's obviously a software company. But Buffy's kind of lurking around. So she just walked in the building as lurking around the sales floor.
Yeah, that's not weird at all. But yeah.
And she sees him working. He sells something and he takes off for lunch and she hides. She starts talking to another salesman and about Ted's numbers, because they have this like big whiteboard where if you make a sale, you like tally. And Ted is way ahead of the other salespeople. Mm-hmm. And so the salesman's like, oh, yeah, Buffy's like, oh, this guy's the guy to beat, huh, I guess. You know, look at his things. Buffy says she's just temping for the day. Because he's like, oh, you're new. And he says that, yeah, Ted is like a machine. He like never loses a client. He knows everything about computers. Like, he's just, if I sound bitter, it's because I am. Like, it's the guy, because he's like, obviously makes really good sales.
And she tries to pry. She's like, he must have some exes or like, you know.
Yeah, he's working hard because he probably has ex-wives to support.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, he just has a girlfriend. I'm just glad he's going to be leaving in 2 months when they get married.
And Buffy is like,
what? And he says, you know, I'm surprised he even put a picture of her on his desk. And
then they pan to his desk and there's like nothing.
Yeah, there's no personal stuff at all. There's not even a post-it. It's just a picture of Joyce.
There's no highlighters. There's
no, there's nothing. So that guy runs off because the boss is coming, and Buffy walks over to Ted's desk, sees a picture of Joyce, and she recognizes it. It's the one that was on the fridge, and she opens the frame, and it's Buffy has been folded out of the picture. Like, it's been folded in half.
That's interesting. That's like, what is that? Like, imagery? No, not imagery. There's a word I'm thinking of.
Yeah, Buffy's been folded out of the picture. Mm-hmm. And Buffy's like, this is literally and figuratively trying to be put out of the picture.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah. When Buffy was in the kitchen, her mom said, Ted's coming over for dinner, so be home at 6. So now we're at dinner, so it's Joyce, Ted, and Buffy.
And he's saying a blessing.
He's saying a blessing.
That doesn't seem like something they do.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like something Ted would do, too.
He's asking everyone to be more considerate and productive and honest.
Yeah, I wonder who he's talking about. Like, how that's not coded very well.
I love how he calls her Joycey.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's so cringe.
And Buffy's not eating. And he says, it tastes good too. She said it looked good, and Ted said it tastes good too. And Buffy's just sitting there with her arms crossed and says, "Are you two engaged?" And Joyce is like surprised. She's like, "No, like, why would you think that?"
Yeah.
And he's like, I think Ted says something like, "Let me handle this, Joycey. Like, you can handle talking to my daughter. Like, I've talked to my daughter about this. You know what? Like,
but she doesn't seem upset by that.
No. She lets him do it.
Yep.
And he says, "No, we're not engaged, but, one day soon, hopefully, if things keep going well, like, I would ask your mom to marry me." And he says, "How would they make you feel?" And Buffy says, "I feel like I would kill myself."
Yeah.
Which is, yikes. That's some dark stuff there.
Yeah, it is.
When Buffy says this and Joyce gets upset, Ted makes it come across like he's defending Buffy. He's like, "Hey, she's allowed to feel how she feels. It's okay." Buffy gets sent to her room.
Like condescending, though.
It is. But, like, that's what he's trying to do. And Buffy gets sent to her room, and he just says, "We just have to give her more time. Like, she'll come around." And so Buffy goes up to her room and is like, "Yeah, I'm not staying here," and crawls out the window. And we see her in the graveyard just being like...
She's on a swing. And she's like, "Vampires. You're vampires.
You're vampires." Like, she wants some action, and nobody's showing up because she wants to pummel somebody tonight. It's not the person she wants to pummel. But, yeah, so she waits for vampires. No one shows up. So she just goes home and crawls back into her window. And we see Ted sitting in her room.
Yeah, this is not okay. This is creepy.
This is creepy as hell. So he's sitting there.
Through her things. She figured out really quickly he went through her things.
Yeah, we have, like, holy water, crosses out, stakes. He's holding her diary. And he says, "Yeah, I'm sure when your mom sent you to her room, she'd meant, like, you have to stay in your room." So he's, like, caught her sneaking out. "Oh, this has been interesting, reading her diary. Like, what's a vampire slayer?" And she's, of course, upset. Like, that he's been violating her. He's in her room. He's violating her privacy. Yeah. And she's really upset. So basically, he makes a threat to behave and go along with, his mom and his Joyce's and his relationship, or he will show her mom the diary, and she'll spend the rest of her life in a mental institution.
Which is so crazy for him to do that.
That is, unhinged, obviously. And he's going to keep the diary as leverage against her. The notion of Buffy being institutionalized, the idea of that this isn't the last time it's brought up.
Wow. Okay. That's crazy.
Yeah. I can think of 2 more times at least. So, so she's like, "You're not leaving with that diary." Mm-hmm. And she like stops, puts her hand on his arm to stop him leaving.
And she tries to get him, and he just tries to leave with it.
Yeah. And he like backhands her.
He like slams her into the wall.
Yeah. She gives her quite a whacking. And she jumps up. She's like, "I'm so glad you did that.
Yeah.
Like, now I can hit you back."
Yeah.
And she wails on him.
Yep.
And he gets her good at punching her again as well.
Yeah. Like they're fighting.
They are, it's bad. And Joyce comes in. Now, after Joyce enters the picture, she doesn't see Ted hit Buffy at all.
Of course.
It's already happened.
Exactly. Like, it's like he knew she was coming in.
He's hit her twice and it's already happened. So now Buffy is just let loose. And they fight through. She like punches him all the way through the hallway and punches him, and he falls down the stairs.
And you hear a sickening crack.
Yeah, his neck cracks at the bottom of the stairs.
Yeah.
Joyce runs down the stairs and like feels his pulse and everything, and she says, "You killed him."
He's dead.
He's dead. And Buffy's like, "Shit."
Yeah, the look on her face. The look on her face.
Didn't mean to do that.
Yeah, no, she didn't want to do that.
I just wanted to.
Well, he put hands on her.
Yeah. I mean, God, there's so much there for sure.
Yeah. The EMS and the police forensics, like they're all there now. And Joyce says he falls down the stairs. So this is the first time where I'm like, finally, she's using some sense. Like she's trying, she's going to try and take Buffy out of the equation. Mm-hmm. But, Buffy admits it. She's like,
I hit him.
She says, yeah, she's like, I hit him. And then she admits in her room that he hit her first. And then like the police officer's like, because all of a sudden we cut to the police investigation room. He's like, it doesn't look like you were hit.
Okay, first of all, why Joyce is not present? Buffy is underage, and she doesn't have she doesn't have, her mom isn't there, and there's no lawyer.
Yeah.
Like, someone has died.
Police officer to talk to a teenager like that?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't even get to that yet. But, like, why Joyce is not in there and why there's no lawyer. Buffy is, like, 16 years old. Like, we didn't even get to, like, how bad the cop is. So, like, yeah, the cop is saying...
And he's just, like, he just circles around her. He's like, oh, but he never hit you before tonight. Like, you said that, so...
It didn't look like he hit you very hard. But he never hit you before tonight, right? You've had an argument before.
So, I mean, like... But what is it? Let's just pause for a second. Like, and this is outside of the show, but like, he didn't hit you before tonight, but you're saying, like, you obviously understand that she did get hit tonight. So what is the point of this questioning? What does it matter after this?
Yeah. Like, he didn't deserve to be pushed down the stairs or whatever because he only hit you that one time. That
made me so crazy mad. Yeah. So angry. So very angry.
And Buffy's like, are you kidding me? Mm-hmm. Like, it was horrible. And Joyce, like, totally dropped the ball again with this.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she does ask about charges or whatever. I'm just like...
Yeah, she's just like, are you charging her with anything? I mean, she looks worried. I'm not saying she's not worried, but...
She doesn't look like she's being...
You don't just send your
mom of the year.
You don't just send your underage child into a police interrogation without an adult or a lawyer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Joyce.
What's wrong with you?
Jesus. Yeah, so they say they're not charging Buffy, but just so far. Obviously, it's early in, like, the investigation, so just take her home. Yeah. The next day at school, Buffy shows up looking bad.
Yeah.
Looking rough.
She looks, like she's killed people before, but not people.
Yeah. And people are whispering and looking, so I think the word's gone out that there was an accident or whatever. An incident at Buffy's house.
And they're gossiping.
Yeah. Willow and Xander say, oh, you're here. And she says she couldn't stay at home. Her mom wouldn't even look at her. Mm-hmm. So she'd rather come to school. Xander is like, okay, what was he? Like, what did you discover? That he was some kind of...
says, what was he? We're talking a creature feature here, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So obviously Buffy discovered some supernatural thing about him and had to slay him. And she's like, nope. Yep. He's a regular guy. I just lost my temper. I lost it. And they're like, well, you defended yourself. She's like, yeah, but I'm the Slayer. I went crazy on him.
Yeah.
And
she had no right to hit him like that because he's still a person.
Yeah, they're trying to convince her that it wasn't her fault and all of this, and she just can't take, like, she just is like, I can't be here. Like, you guys, like, she probably appreciates it, but she can't hear it because she knows, like, it doesn't matter. No matter what you say, it doesn't matter. And as she's leaving the school, she runs into Giles, who's asking her if she's okay.
Yeah.
And she sees that the cops are in the library and they're asking around about her. Mm-hmm. Giles says that they're asking about her behavior.
Yep.
And Giles starts to say, of course I'm telling them that you're, like, good or whatever he was going to say, but she just leaves. She just walks off, doesn't finish talking to him. Later in the library, Cordelia, Xander, Willow, and Giles are trying to kind of figure out what went on. They're trying to find something on Ted.
They want to clear her. So they're not as Team Ted now.
Yeah, and they already did tell Buffy told them that they're not trusting any charges yet. Mm-hmm. But so they are very they're very intent on clearing her name, finding something about him.
So I like how they're kind of talking, and Xander's all like, no way, no how would she hurt someone innocent? Nice Uncle Ted was dirty. And Willow's going on about needing proof. And Cordelia's like, shouldn't Buffy have different rules? And Willow's like, sure, in a fascist society. And Cordelia's like, why can't we have one of those?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Can we have one of those? Yeah, so her point, though, is interesting. Like, should Buffy have another set of rules?
I feel like maybe.
Because of who she is and what she has to deal with.
I feel like Batman and Spider-Man should get different rules, so why can't she?
Yeah, that's something that comes up as the situations become less black and white. Like, when there's like purely human people that are just really bad. In some other situations, there is like the rules, like that Buffy needs to follow or not follow or step over the line or whatever. So that's not that this isn't the first time that we'll come across this. And so Xander's very worked up, and he's like, oh, I'm going to have some cookies. So he's eating some cookies, some of Ted's cookies. And Giles is getting ready to go patrolling because Buffy is not fit to patrol. She'll get herself killed, probably.
Yeah.
So he's going to go out and pick up the slack. And I love
hilarious
when Cordy says, oh, well, first Giles says, you know, she needs you guys, like the guilt that she's carrying of taking a human life. And Cordy says, well, you would know because you summoned that demon that killed that guy that time.
Oh, yeah.
And Giles is like, yes, let's bring that up every chance we can get, please. Like, thank you for reminding me of my horrible regrets. I loved that. Willow sees that, like, Ted has no
criminal record.
No criminal record. He's innocent of the year.
Clean.
And all of a sudden, Xander's reacting differently to this news.
And honestly, even before this happened, like when when he found the cookies, and he's like, "Ooh, cookies!" I was like, "Why are these cookies so weird?" So I was already thinking that. It was already in my mind.
So he's just like all of a sudden chill, like, don't worry about it. And they're like, you were like going off the rails like 15 minutes ago. And so Willow takes the cookie out of his hand and just kind of stares at it. It's like, your attitude completely altered. And they said that because he was a chef in Three's Company, right? His character?
Yeah.
Okay, they said like that's supposed to be like a nod to his character on Three's Company, like that he's a really good chef. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's a little cute Easter egg there for Three Companies fans like you. At Buffy's house, this scene is so sad.
Yeah,
Joyce is in
the
kitchen. Joyce is in the kitchen, cleaning out Tupperware, basically, saying that she's been meaning to do it for a while. And Buffy comes in and tries to talk to her.
Yeah, she breaks down. Like she wants to talk. Yeah, she's a teenager and this very traumatizing thing happened to her. And Joyce is like, I need time. You're a mom. You don't get time.
Yeah, like she says, Mom, I didn't mean, I didn't mean to, like she starts trying to say, like she didn't mean to kill Ted. It was an accident and he attacked her. And so she defended herself and then he fell down the stairs. Yep. And her mom just can't go there right now.
I didn't like that.
No. And Sarah Michelle Gellar was great in this scene.
She really was. And I'm gonna have to say, like, I'm starting to feel like Joyce isn't, I don't remember her. I don't know what her real name is, but she's not a great actress.
Christine Sutherland.
Okay, she's not doing it for me.
No? Okay.
No.
Fair.
Or maybe it's just because I don't like her character. It's making me not like her.
Right, maybe. Yeah, we'll see how that develops one way or another. In the science lab, Willow is doing some experiments on the cookie.
The secret ingredient is
not love. It's dematorin, which is a tranquilizer, and that has some shared properties with ecstasy. So
I feel like that was a made-up word, just so you know, dematorin.
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't even look it up.
Because I was like, I've never heard of this. What is that? And I Googled it, and yeah, it's not.
Oh, it's made up? I wonder why they did that. Because there's no need to make up a drug, right? They said ecstasy. That's real. So that's interesting. Good eye on that. I didn't even think about looking it up.
I was very curious. I mean, Demetor is a drug, but dematorin is not.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And so obviously he's been drugging everybody when they've been eating his food to make them more compliant and relaxed.
Mellow.
Yeah, and mellow. Cordelia, like, kicks ass in this episode for two reasons. So the first one is she comes in and finds, I found marriage certificates, which Willow did not find.
Yeah, exactly. How did Willow not find that stuff when she did her thorough search on him?
Yeah, so she found like 4 marriage certificates.
I would like to point out that Cordelia had not eaten any of the food.
Mm-hmm. True. Good point.
I don't know if that had anything to do with it.
Right. No, that's a good point. And also she found an address. So now they have something to go on. In the graveyard.
It's an important scene.
Yeah, Giles is
he's
patrolling. And Jenny shows up and she wants to apologize for their conversation.
She scares him though.
Yeah. Giles scare. We need a jingle or something for every time Giles gets startled. It's great. Yes, Giles scare. She wants to apologize. She was like really harsh to him and too brutal on him. Yeah. So she's there to apologize.
Yeah.
In Buffy's room, she's like, okay, I'm not hanging out here. I'm going to go out and patrol. But her window has been nailed shut.
She thinks it's her mom. And even I was like, your mom wouldn't do that.
You know what? I didn't think till just now that it couldn't have been her mom.
As soon as that happened, I was like, nope.
Oh,
He's back.
I didn't even think about that, to be honest.
Yeah,
I was like, her mom just did it.
Also, like, I just felt like at this point of the episode, it had gone so dark. I was like, they can't let it go like this. So I just knew he was going to come back.
But yeah, it probably was Ted. I didn't even think about that. So she's trying to get out. It's nailed shut. And somebody shows up in her room behind her. And it's Ted.
She's like, well, it's official. This day can't get any worse. And Ted is like, I beg to differ.
Yeah, I'm back.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah, and he's in her room. And he hits her. In the graveyard, Giles and Jenny are attacked by a vampire.
Oh, it tackles Giles.
Yeah, and
tackles Giles. It's a hilarious scene.
Caught off guard. And Jenny is like rifling through. He's just trying to like.
He yells for crossbow.
And Jenny's in the bag trying to, rustle through everything. And she gets the crossbow and they're fighting and they're turning around in circles. So she doesn't want to like pull the trigger because she doesn't know.
She doesn't want to hit Giles.
Want to hit Giles. And I've kind of combined a few cutback from scene to scene to scene. So she thinks she has a clear shot. She takes it and she shoots Giles in the back. My God. With the crossbow arrow. And she's like, oh, no.
They're even now. They're even.
Yeah, for real. I didn't mean to do that.
Oh
in Buffy's
God.
room, he's talking to Buffy and Ted says that he had to shut down for a while.
Yeah.
And that weird. She's not going to like get in the way of him and Joyce's relationship. And he starts strangling Buffy.
Yeah. This is getting so dark.
Yeah, it is dark.
Like, I don't know. At this point, I feel like he's not a vampire. Like, I understand that he's not a vampire, but like,
right.
He still seems like a man. I don't know. Anyway, yeah. Okay, continue.
Buffy reaches on her dresser for a nail file, a metal nail file, and like stabs him in the arm with it, and he jerks away, so it kind of like rips down his arm.
It rips his skin open.
Yeah, and we see the cut, and there's computer components in there, like wires and metal and stuff.
Not expecting this.
Yeah, and he starts glitching. Mm-hmm. He starts talking, and then his head like jerks to the side, and he says something else, and he's
like spasming.
And then he like kicks Buffy in the head and knocks her unconscious.
Yep.
So we're like, what the heck?
And he says him and her mom will be very happy, which is super creepy.
Yeah, very scary. At Ted's place, like the address they had, Cordelia, Willow, and Xander break in, and they just like find like I don't know if it's like a computer store. It's not a residential address.
Storefront, something.
It's not residential.
It's weird. No.
Yeah, it's like a retail place that's been abandoned.
Xander wants to check for cookies for Ed.
Yeah, exactly. See, it's okay. Like, Ted's not there. It's not gonna happen. Willow and Cordelia make sure nothing happens to him if he enjoys another cookie. The cookies aren't evil. So again, they're like, there's nothing here. Like, why is this, like, this is not useful. And here's where Cordelia comes in clutch again.
Yeah, she does.
This rug that we're standing on doesn't go with anything here.
Yeah, I love that. That was her decor sense.
Yeah, and Xander throws it up. And there's a trap door. There's a trap door in the floor.
Yeah.
Always great to go down those. Always a good idea. Oh, but something that I forgot to mention, while they're in there and they're kind of trying to figure out what to do, Willow is going through the marriage certificates. And so the first one, he would have gotten married in 1957.
And that doesn't math, right?
No. Like, he would have been in, like, preschool or something. Like, so something's fishy for sure.
Weird. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. In the kitchen, Joyce is still messing around with that Tupperware. And she thinks she hears someone behind her. She thinks it's Buffy, and she attempts to apologize, which is nice. And,
a little late.
Yeah, and it's not even to Buffy. Buffy never hears that apology.
Mm-hmm.
And
yes, exactly.
He turns around and it's Ted, and it scares the shit out of her, obviously, because this guy's supposed to be dead.
And he's like, "Oh, I was dead for 6 minutes, but it's okay. I'm alive. I'm fine."
It was all a big mistake.
Also, 6 minutes. You can't be dead for 6 minutes, by the way. You would have brain damage.
My
medical knowledge, I'll just throw it out every once in a while.
He says they said any longer they would have been brain damage, and then he was unconscious. Yep. He was unconscious for the rest of the time. So he was in the morgue unconscious but alive, and he woke up.
Again, yeah, so, whatevs.
Big misunderstanding. It's fine. Mm-hmm. I'm good. And so she's so relieved, and she's also really...
Yeah, don't worry, Daddy's here.
Oh, God, the Daddy's here.
So gross.
I wrote that down. It was just like, ew.
Ugh, okay.
Oh, so nasty.
Anyway.
So in Ted's basement...
have you seen Blast from the Past?
Yes.
Yeah, Blast from the
Past. With Brendan Fraser.
I feel like this was almost like a nod to that. Like when they open his apartment up and it's just like all 50s style, like it has the record player and it has everything. And it just made me think of like, yeah, that bomb shelter with
Yeah.
Brendan Fraser's dad. And I was just like, oh, interesting.
Yeah, I didn't even remember. I didn't even connect the dots there. But as soon as
I
you
don't think
said
they were
last
trying to do that. It
no,
just
but
reminded me of that. Yeah.
I'm surprised it didn't remind me of that because like that is like my aesthetic. Like my house doesn't look too much different from that.
It doesn't actually. It did made me think of you too. Actually, when you walk into Ashley's apartment, also you will see a record player and like vintage chairs and like rugs, and it's super adorable. It's much cuter than Ted's apartment, actually.
Although
you. They did a good job with the set on this one, but yeah,
yeah, it looked really cool actually. Like I was like, like this is one redeeming thing about Ted. His apartment.
Yes, good style.
Yeah,
Xander goes to check the closet though, and immediately shuts the door.
We don't see
he's
what
like,
he's
let's
saying,
get out of here now. And then Willow's like, what? And he's like, his past 4 wives are in there, and it's like, oh no.
I think she says like, what did you find, or something, or what's in there? Ted's past 4 wives, his other 4 wives. I was like, oh,
what kind of condition would they even be in if the first one's from 1957? Like, how do you even keep a body like that?
Don't know.
Without terrible smells. Like that doesn't anyway, okay.
Yeah, who knows what they were
poke holes in all of these weird things that are happening.
That's okay. That's the fun part. That's half the fun. So they just leave immediately because they've got what they came for. So they got the evidence for sure. In Buffy's kitchen, Joyce is like, okay, let me talk to Buffy. Like she's very concerned about Buffy dealing with, like, she's relieved that, yes, exactly, that he's alive. That means Buffy didn't kill him, and that she needs to talk to Buffy and tell her that, you know, obviously it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And she's concerned about Buffy, and Ted snaps at her about being so concerned about Buffy. What about me? I'm the one that died.
Mm-hmm.
And he starts to glitch again. And this is where he says, like, would you like gravy with that?
Yeah. Like such weird things.
This is very weird. Like his glitches are weird, laughable. He wants to leave and like leave the house with Joyce, and he starts getting aggressive with Joyce. And she's starting to be like,
she's finally coming to her senses.
Yeah, she's like, something's wrong here. Like, this is not okay. In the graveyard, finally, we get back to Jenny and Giles. And Giles is like, oh, I don't think it went in too deep. It's like the advantage of layers of tweed is better than Kevlar.
That made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, I loved that.
That was a cute line. I liked it, yeah. And it made her giggle.
Yeah, and so she's going to get him to the hospital. And
she's like, you really know how to woo a girl back.
Yeah. So I think they're on the right track. And I think they're calling it even after she's, shot him in the back.
That's cute.
So he seems okay, but he is hobbling off to the hospital. Buffy comes to in her room, and downstairs, Joyce, they go into the dining room area, and Joyce is like, oh, like you can tell she's playing along at this point.
She's nervous though.
And she says, yeah, she is nervous. She says, oh, let's have a drink to celebrate, and like trying to like distract him. And he says, oh no, well, we should actually hit the road like to get to the house. And she's like, what are you talking about? He's like, you'll love it. Like you'll have all your, stuff there. And she's like, oh, okay, better go pack. She's trying to get away from him.
And he's like, no, I already have all your clothes.
Yeah, it's they're always your size.
What does that even mean?
They're always your size.
And he's like, husband and wife forever.
Husband and wife is forever. You left, but I keep bringing you back.
That's so creepy.
Okay. So she's like, okay, and he grabs her arm. She's like, you need to get off of me and let go of me. And he pushes her and knocks her out.
Yeah.
Ted hears Buffy break out of her room.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes into the kitchen, and Buffy is there waiting for him with the cast iron pan, or the cast iron skillet that he was using.
Which, by the way, she lifts it like it's... Have you ever lifted a cast iron pan? She's lifting it like it's nothing. I had to hold two hands to lift those things.
Yeah, but she's a slayer.
Yeah, okay.
She has slayer strength. She doesn't... Okay. She just lifts whatever. She just... we've seen this a couple of times. She's just like she's got slayer strength. So she lifts it over her head and whacks him in the face with it. And then we see that his whole skin has been ripped off, and it's all robot underneath.
Yep.
If the cat wasn't out of the bag already when he was stabbed, it's really out of the bag now. He's fully robot. He doesn't just have a robotic arm or something.
No.
He is a robot! Exclamation point.
She has to hit him again.
Yeah, and Buffy is shocked.
Yeah.
Again, even though maybe she didn't get
this isn't anything we've seen. It's not a vampire. It's not it doesn't seem like any sort of weird what is it?
supernatural.
Buffyverse?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a
It's not-
supernatural thing.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? This is
And
weird.
so before she hits him, it's the second time, he's like, hey, Buffy, how about a game of Parcheesi? Or a nice game of Parcheesi. I was like, oh my God.
Weird. So weird.
Yeah, so Buffy now hits him again, and he just starts like glitching and like short-circuiting on the floor until he, air quotes, dies.
This reminded me of Stepford Wives. Anybody that watched that, this was like a nice throwback to Stepford Wives.
That's been a while since I've seen that. If you watch that. Buffy's front porch. Buffy and Joyce are sitting there eating like peas or sugar snap peas or something, and Joyce is like really wigged out and like nervous about Ted. Like,
yeah,
they're gonna have a movie night, but no romance, no men, no horror, nothing that's gonna remind her of the situation. And she says, like, you know, because what they found in his basement, she's worried that he's not really gone. Yeah, and Buffy says, oh, he's gone. He's on the what did she say? The
heap pile,
the scrap heap. Something. And she's like, what? And she's like, of life, not the literal, because he wasn't a robot or anything. Like, no.
Yeah.
So she's kind of reassuring her mom that he's gone. And what I needed in this whole episode and what I needed in this scene didn't get was Joyce apologizing to Buffy.
Yeah. No, they didn't have a talk. They didn't like Joyce wasn't like, hey, it's never okay for somebody to hit you or like talk down to you, or especially not someone I'm dating.
And when you tell me that someone's hurt you, I should believe you.
Yes. These are the conversations they should have been having. But yeah, no, they're just like, yeah, let's watch a movie. Thelma and Louise.
Yeah, they're going to Thelma and Louise it, which is like two women that go on a rampage.
I mean, that was funny, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Which
is the movie Thelma and Louise. I feel like people, maybe some people, like I would say I feel like in the script, they're like, their excuse for Joyce not handling this, it was because she was drugged. That's where like
what about this scene? She's no longer drugged in this scene.
Yeah, no, I don't buy it. I'm just saying, okay. I think that the writer, like Joss and like David, would have been like, well, that's why she was not herself or whatever, is because she was being drugged. I don't buy it. Like, it's not enough for me, especially like, yeah, like right now she's not drugged. That's just not enough of a reason.
Yep.
It's like a mild tranquilizer. Like, they weren't like not able to stand up. Like, it's not like they couldn't reason.
Yeah, so, exactly. Like Willow was still able to reason.
Yeah, Willow was able to like be like, yeah, okay, I'll look stuff up for you and everything.
Yep.
So, yeah, major fail on Joyce in this episode for me.
Yep.
In the hallway, Xander kind of reveals it's Willow, Xander, and Buffy, and Cordelia is now just hanging around all the time now, apparently. And Xander is revealing the backstory of Ted, like what was found out. So the human Ted, the original Ted, had cancer and his wife left him. So
yeah, that's pretty low.
That's sad, yeah. And he built a robot of himself.
A better version of himself.
He passed away. And so the robot version of himself brought the wife back, and they basically lived in that bomb shelter underground thing
hostage
until she died.
Yep.
And then he went out and just replaced her.
Over and over again.
Yeah, so Joyce would have been like the fifth, or like, I guess if you don't count the first one isn't a replacement. So the like fourth replacement. She would have been the fourth person living down there.
Yeah. And Willow was kind of wondering if they had any pieces of him left, or like what's going on with that. And like, I don't remember who, but like somebody was like, why would you want that? And she's like, I just want to learn stuff. And Cordelia's like how to build your own serial killer.
Yeah, but Willow says, you know, it was so sad because obviously the real Ted was like a genius because he built this so long ago, and like the techniques and like the computer stuff that he was using was like predated so much technology and everything. And Buffy's like, you didn't keep any, did you? She's like, not any big parts. So we see Willow starting to get into like robots, and like we know her, she's already a science nerd, but she's into like robots and stuff as well. Mm-hmm. And she's like, you're supposed to use your powers for good, Will. And she's like, oh, I just want to learn. So yeah, Buffy's like, okay, like I'm moving on now, like everything's fine. And then they are about to go into the library, and they look through the little porthole window, and Buffy's like, okay, forget it. Like I give up. I just give up. And they all walk off. And we see in the window that Giles and Jenny are kissing. So they've like officially made up.
Yeah, that was cute. I like that.
Which is cute. So we got that. And that is the end of the episode.
Yeah.
That is Ted. So my favorite quote was when Giles says, the advantages of layers of tweed. It's better than Kevlar
That's
when
a
he
good
gets
one.
shot in his back. Another like tweed, a Giles tweed reference, which I always love. My favorite scene was, I would say, the mini golf scene. Not because it was
Okay.
particularly pleasant to watch, but that's when things really started to turn. And you were like, oh yeah, there's something definitely wrong with this guy. This guy is not just like annoying.
Yeah. No, but like
He's like
a creep.
Yeah, like he is like an abuser, and
Yep.
he's like threatening Buffy, and like it took another turn there, and then in that scene, and we just learned so much about him in that scene,
Yeah.
and it gets serious for Buffy in that scene. So that's what I went with.
I will say my favorite line was when Willow said, "I just want to learn stuff," and Cordelia's like how to build your own serial killer.
Yeah.
That was just there were like I have to admit though I wrote fave line like multiple times and had to cross it out. Like another one was the check for cookies for evidence line, and then the one where you want to go to the utility closet and make out. God, is that ever you think about? And then okay, like those are all great.
I also liked when Cordelia's like oh, you know me when you summoned that demon and killed that guy that one time? Like,
that was a good one too. Yeah.
Cordelia had a lot of good lines. She wasn't even,
And the Kevlar one was good too. There was so many good lines in this whole episode, honestly.
Yeah, she wasn't even in it a ton, but she had good lines.
Yeah. And then I feel like my favorite scene was I'm gonna go with when Jenny and Giles were in the cemetery fighting the vampire. I thought that was funny because, like, you know, Giles is taking Buffy's role, and like it's not as easy. I mean, he knows it's already not easy, but I thought that was kind of a cute scene where he's trying to take over for her for the night, and it was just kind of bumbling, and then he ends up getting shot. And
yeah, yeah, that was a whole comedy of errors. That whole thing.
Yeah.
For both of them, like it just didn't end. It ended well for both of them, but it took a lot. So my stake rating is 3.4. I'm gonna say.
Really?
Yeah.
That low? Okay. All right.
And I upped it.
You upped it.
It's better. It's better than I remember, honestly. To be
okay.
So I forgot how dark it was. I did like how dark it was. It was like much darker than your normal Buffy episode, I would think. Like from a real life perspective, air quotes. I liked the fact of like the cooking. I liked that he was drugging them to like so he could get away with more stuff. I liked that kind of plot line. I loved his backstory. I think the whole thing about like him, like his wife leaving him and then him just bringing her back for years and like for decades every time. And then Joyce was just the next in line.
Yeah.
I think was really good. I liked Cordy's PI skills.
Yeah, she was good in this episode.
And when you know Cordy's full storyline, it's interesting. This episode is interesting.
Oh, okay. Hopefully that comes soon.
And John Ritter was a great guest star. I think he was a good guest star. Giles and Jenny makeup, here for that. Here for all the Giles and Jenny stuff. I'm glad they're back on track now. So maybe they can finally have that third date that got derailed. And I put Joyce sad face. Joyce was like,
she sucked.
Real disappointment in this episode for me. Like, same as also it reminds me of like how disappointed I was in Xander when he didn't address the sexual assault on Buffy when he was a werewolf, a hyena. Yeah. Like he just pretended like he didn't know about, like he didn't remember. And I was disappointed
Just
in that.
shove things under the rug. It'll be fine.
Yeah. And I am disappointed that that we didn't see an on-screen apology to Buffy from her mother.
Yeah, I agree.
Because she failed her very badly in this episode.
No.
And that was like the low point for me. Like that was just not good.
I gave it a 4. I liked that John Ritter was a guest star. I liked the throwback to the Stepford Wives. Because it was, I mean, they obviously deviated because it's a very different genre, but they did keep to some of it pretty well, which I thought was interesting. I also like the Blast from the Past vibes. It just
I did like that apartment. I didn't forget that apartment. Yeah, I
liked it a lot too. And despite the fact that it was very dark, it still had a lot of funny scenes. It had a lot of like comedy breaks. I still think we saw Buffy develop as a character in this. She's showing herself more human, I feel like. She felt like at one point she killed a human, and just watching her kind of go through that, I felt like that was some character development there. Yeah. So, and then like everything you said too. Yeah.
And before we even like have any real reason to suspect Ted, she is just a child of divorce that doesn't like the person her mom is dating.
Yep.
Purely because it's not her other parent. It's not her dad. And that is something like I can't say every.
A lot of people can identify.
Most children of divorce go through.
Yep.
Because like in that first scene in the kitchen, there was nothing that was like suspect about, really. Nothing major. No. That she would really be like, this is a guy who's dangerous or he's not, whatever. It was just pure hatred because it wasn't her father.
Yep.
And that's something from like that's just like a teenager thing, that a thing of divorce that you just deal with. So she was very much human in that way too, until
that's true.
There was more to it. But she was very much just a child of divorce at that moment.
Yeah.
Which 50% of us can relate to, I feel.
Yeah, well, me and you both.
So your question for next week. The next episode is called Bad Eggs.
Okay.
For a school project, the students are given an item to take care of. What is it?
It's going to be eggs, obviously. The episode's called Bad Eggs. I feel like I had to do that in high school. Yeah, the little egg thing.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. We had to make sure it didn't crack or whatever.
We actually had, like, babies.
I had the option
cry and like,
I
you had to hold its head up and everything.
The baby, so I picked the egg.
Yeah, we didn't have a choice.
I was child free even at that point.
Like, you had it in class. It would rain. It was cry in class and everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Nope. Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go with egg.
Okay, you should feel confident about your choice.
I feel very confident. Thank you for the title.
I always say the title, so it wasn't like I.
Yeah. No, I know.
Anything out of the ordinary.
I always write it down when you say
it. Yeah. So. I haven't watched Bad Eggs in a long time, so I will be curious because it is like rated low.
Cleanser.
It is rated low on the Buffy episodes. Like if you go to like a list, because there's like many websites, like entertainment websites that have ranked Buffy episodes, and it's very low. But I haven't watched it in a long time, so we'll see how I feel about it. Because it has been a while for me for Bad Eggs. So that wraps up season 2, episode 11, Ted. Again, you can find us on all major podcast apps and YouTube and Instagram at One Girl in All the World Pod. And please give us a 5-star review wherever you listen. You can also email us at onegirlpod@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us, and we'll be back next week with season 2, episode 12, Bad Eggs. See you real soon.
Bye.